Now that we have Bootstrap installed, the next thing I want to do is get continuous integration set up. And continuous integration for the context of this application is just going to be a service we use called Travis CI, and it's just going to run our test suite for us. But before I go too far, I want to make sure that I am on a new branch. So right now, if I run git branch, I'm still on the Bootstrap branch, so I want to do git checkout master, and let's do git fetch and git pull. Okay, and actually let's delete the Bootstrap branch. Okay, so like the previous lesson, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to just make a new branch called Travis CI. Go ahead and create that, and if I run git fetch, it should make my local repository aware of that repository. And if I do git checkout Travis CI, I am now on that branch. Okay, now that we have that taken care of, let's see if our test suite passes, because what we're going to end up doing is having Travis CI run the test suite that we have here, and it's just going to run it on their servers. And then with that, the advantage to that is if the test suite passes, then we can do things like push it to production or merge one branch into master, for example. So if I run Rails T, and T is just short for test, it's going to run our test suite, and we actually get a failure, and it's coming from this file here, which was generated when we made our controller for the home page in the previous lesson. And it's failing because this path no longer exists because we actually removed it and replaced it with the path for the root of our application. So this is an easy thing to fix. So we can just replace this with root path, and if we run the test suite again, it should pass. Okay, so now that we have that, what we want to do is make a file that Travis will understand. And again, I'm going to reference something that I did earlier. And we want to make a .travis YAML file. So I'm going to go ahead and actually make sure I'm at the top of my directory. Or actually, you know what, I'll do it. New file. Okay, Travis CI. And I'm going to copy all of this, throw it in there. I'm going to run through this in a second and explain it. And we will also want to change the system test from, well, let me actually show you. So we want to change the system test from using Chrome to using headless Chrome. So let me explain this. So this file was automatically generated by Rails when we ran the Rails new command in the first lesson. And a system test is actually a test where it uses a browser. And so what will happen is if I kept this at Chrome and I ran Rails test system, if I went ahead and ran that and I had some system tests, it would actually spin up Google Chrome. So if I did that, Google Chrome would actually open up, and whatever needed to happen in the test would happen. So maybe like filling out a form, clicking a button, whatever. But I've had issues where that does not work on Travis CI, and I had a hard time configuring that for Travis CI. And the way I was able to fix that is just use headless Chrome. So instead of a browser actually opens, it just uses the browser's API. So I just went ahead and did that. It seemed to work. It also makes the system tests run faster. We don't have any system tests yet, but we'll do some later on in this course. But I just wanted to get that out of the way. The next thing is this Travis file. So these are all relative to Travis. So I can walk you through this a little bit, and I'll even just show you right here. So this is a Ruby application, so you set the language to Ruby. This cache is so it doesn't always have to run bundle install and yarn install every single time. It'll cache those things. We're using Postgres as our database, so that's the service. Before anything is installed, we're going to use the latest stable version of Node. And then before any scripts are run, we install all of our gems, we install all of our Node packages and dependencies, then we create the database and load the database, and then finally, this is the script that we run with Travis, which is running our test suite and running our system tests, which we don't have any of those yet. So now that we have this set up, we want to actually go into Travis CI and link our project up. So these are other projects that I have. And let's see what we have here. Stride catcher. Okay. So this is synced up, but there is no CI file yet, which makes sense. So if I go in here, there's not going to be a build to trigger because I don't have this file added. So let's add okay, so I added the Travis configuration file and the file that was failing, the test that was failing. So those are the two commits I'm going to make, or the one commit I'm going to make. And I think I accidentally created a file in here. I'm going to delete that. Forgot to add this file, so git add test controllers commit fix failing test. Oh, and earlier I ran Rails DB migrate, which added the schema file here. So I need to make sure to commit that file. Okay, so I'm going to push these changes up. And I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to have Travis recognize this yet since it's not in the master branch. Okay, so I'm going to see if I can trigger this build. It looks like it was triggered. I went down here and just clicked trigger build because I'm not actually on master yet. So you can see here it's doing everything in this file right here. So I'm not sure what step it's at, but it's going to do all of these things first before it actually runs the scripts that we care about. Okay, it looks like there was an error from Yarn. It looks like Yarn wasn't able to fetch this package. So I'm going to go ahead and just see if I can restart this build. Okay, so the test suite failed again. We're rushing into the test suite. The build failed, but I think it's because Travis CI is experiencing an issue connecting to NPM. Looks like there's a partial outage, and if I go to NPM site, it looks like there is an issue with scope packages. So I'm thinking that this is the problem. But what I'm going to do now, while that's happening, is I'm going to configure my repository to, or I'm going to configure branches in my repository, or branch protection rule rather. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new rule, and it's going to be that status checks pass before I can merge, and specifically that's going to be with Travis CI. I'm going to set up that there, and for the name I'm just going to call it CI for continuous integration. So I'll go ahead and click that, and I'm going to save that and make sure everything is up to date here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a pull request with this branch here, and it probably won't be able to be merged because of the partial outage and the fact that this build is failing, but I'm going to get this set up and queued up anyways. And you can see here that Travis CI is now integrated. All right, so I'm going to leave it off here because it looks like there's a problem with NPM. But again, I kind of wanted to keep this into the video because this is a real world problem that could happen to you. I obviously wasn't planning on NPM having an issue right now. But hopefully when this gets resolved, I can show you how to merge this in.